Okay, so Fable 5 is finally back, and if you haven't been following all the AI news recently, you might be wondering, what is Fable? Well, on the 9th of June, Anthropic released a new AI model called Fable 5. It was presented as the most capable model ever offered to the public. 3 days later, it was already gone. The US government pulled Fable off the shelves for everybody over a national security concern that nobody ever fully explained. Later on the 30th of June, the US Commerce Secretary lifted the block and now Fable is back, but only until the 7th of July. And after that, it's gonna go behind the paywall most of us are not going to join. Okay, now 6 days is not a lot, and if you're feeling overwhelmed and have no idea what you should be asking this model, here are 6 prompts you should ask Fable before it's gone. First prompt you should be asking Fable. Fable, do a deep and thorough analysis of my entire computer, and make sure everything is safe. Every file, every credential, every piece of infrastructure. Because everybody keeps talking about how good you are at cybersecurity, but also everyone fears how good you are at cyber attacks. The people who created you have called you the most powerful model ever released to the public. While at the same time, the same people won't stop talking about how dangerous you are.
I don't know. I'm relatively an optimist, so I think there's a 25% chance that things go really, really badly.
And it is a technology that you can concoct plausible scenarios where it could kill every single person on the planet.
So, before you're gone and not accessible, make sure I'm safe. Show me whether my computer, my files, my accounts, and everything I have is secure. Prompt number 2. Do a deep investigation, analyze how we got here and what's coming next. Because just a couple of days ago, the US Commerce Secretary wrote that he determined appropriate safeguards were in place to permit certain trusted partners to access you. A letter that basically decides who gets access to intelligence. We shouldn't forget that 3 weeks earlier, when the government switched you off for the rest of us, there were still around 200 approved organizations, including Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, who kept full access to your raw, unrestricted twin, Mythos, the entire time under a program called Project Glasswind. And if we go further back, in January 2025, the US government actually divided the world into 3 tiers depending on AI access. There are trusted allies who get broad access to AI models. There are countries who are going to face strict limits, and there are other countries who are going to be completely locked out. For the first time, the weights of an advanced AI model were treated less like software and more like a strategic technology. I know a lot of people thought you were the first model to be restricted for political reasons. But actually, I don't think that's true. I think this trend started much earlier, and it has been building up for years. So here's a good question for Fable. Where does it end? How involved will the government become in every new AI advancement? And how will it affect our access to it? Prompt number 3. Fable, create a timeline and tell me this. When should I start using open source models instead of you? Because right now, open source feels like the only real alternative. You're already twice as expensive as your predecessor, Opus 4.8, and I don't like that one company controls the models, the infrastructure, and has access to all my private conversations. Open source, on the other hand, is free, it's private, I don't get any subscription, I decide when I get to use it, and I have full control over it. And with models like GLM 5.2 already considered on par with or even better than Opus 4.8 in certain areas, it just seems like the natural solution. But here's the catch. Although open source is free, it doesn't necessarily mean I could run it on my computer. For GLM 5.2, I would need hundreds or maybe even thousands of gigabytes of RAMs. And now, here's another problem that we have. A simple kit of RAM went from costing $100 to costing more than $400 within 2 years. So Fable, is open source a solution, or am I just trading the monopoly of the companies who own the best models for the monopoly of the suppliers who own all the hardware? Prompt number 4, Fable, what does actually make you so special? Because this time, it doesn't seem to be just intelligence. You see, while you were gone, a competitor out of Tokyo emerged out claiming it could match your benchmarks. Sakana Fuku isn't more intelligent and isn't trained on more data. It's a small model with one talent, orchestrating other models, taking intelligence that already exists and simply directing it better. That alone was enough to comfortably beat Gemini and GPT 5.5 and even edge or pass beyond Opus 4.8 and come very close to what Fable 5 can offer us. So is Fable already like peak intelligence, and all the next steps from now on are just going to be different ways in which we organize and we structure intelligence? Fable, make a plan and execute it. I want to figure out how can we stop you from becoming another victim of enshittification. Because it feels like the best days of AI might already be behind us. And it seems that the interest is shifting away from the users towards the investors who've been funding you. Here's a great clip that explains perfectly enshittification.
So, what is enshittification? I use it to describe a three-stage process by which platforms decay. So, in stage one, platforms are good to their end users while finding a way to lock those users in. Think of Facebook. In 2006, Mark Zuckerberg wanted to open Facebook to the general public. So Zuck made a pitch. He said, "Come to Facebook, and I will never, ever spy on you." Now it's time for stage two of enshittification, in which we make things worse for the users in order to make things attractive to business customers. So to the advertisers, Mark Zuckerberg says, "Hey, do you remember we told these rubes that we weren't going to spy on them? Obviously, that was a total lie. We spy on them from asshole to appetite, and for a remarkably small amount of money, we will target ads to them with exquisite fidelity." So advertisers piled in, and they got locked in too. And now Facebook was ready to enter stage three of enshittification, in which you make things worse both for end users and for business customers in order to harvest all the value for executives and shareholders.
So great companies often start the same. They're obsessed with their users, happy to run at a loss. And that's probably why early days Claude felt so generous. And then once you become the tool that everybody uses, the investors, the people who've actually been funding the leaky business you've been running up to that point, start knocking at your door. So all of a sudden, you're not now interested in getting more users. You just want to be able to extract as much money, as much value as possible from the users you already have, until a product that started out great becomes worse and worse. And this isn't just Anthropic's problem. It's the environment these companies are built in. Not many survive this race while staying cash positive. Not necessarily the players who are broken, but it could be the game that is broken itself. So maybe we should figure out how to play a better game. Prompt 6. Now, by this point, you maybe got 1 or 2 days left with Fable. Spend some of it appreciating how good this thing actually is. We spent the majority of this video just giving the Claude team a hard time without once admiring what they've built. You see, I remember when Claude used to be the underdog. He was the contender to OpenAI. They only had like a fraction of their users, and they would all the time try to come up with things to be different. I remember people were talking how the early versions of Claude had a different sensibility to OpenAI and the ChatGPT models that felt way too robotic, where Claude was a little bit more artistic and more humane. And as time passed, Claude slowly but surely started to become better than ChatGPT. And the team went from being number 2 to being number 1. And there is a burden of being number 1 because everybody cheers for the underdog. The underdog always gets all the cheers. The champion gets all the hate. It's easy to punch up, you never want to punch down. So I hope you can use the first 5 prompts to just, put at ease all the existential dread and frustration for just what the corporate world looks like and how scary the future might be. But I want you to take the last prompt to actually just enjoy this great piece of technology that hopefully is going to be used for good. The truth is, Fable 5 is an extremely powerful, nuanced, and intelligent model. So let the last days be for wonder. Try to one-shot a video game, try to get a PhD level research done on something you're interested in, or build that one project that you've been putting off for months because there's just so much work, and just watch this piece of technology that hopefully is going to be used for good, one-shot it in one sitting. You could also ask it what the next couple of months are going to look like and what could possibly come after Fable 5.